Good morning, Zio here, and today we're talking balance changes. But not really in anything in particular. So grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? Oh, and hey, if you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification stuff, because we stream Monday and Wednesday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to come hang out while we just play whatever game it is that we feel like playing at the time and just chilling out, or on Fridays you want to be a part of the conversation where we talk about this kind of stuff, or well, the news of the week, then hit that notification bell and hit the subscribe button and come join us then. All right, I'll see you there. Anyway, so it's going to be a busy week for me. It's one of those long weeks because I do these rotating weeks where I work I work a lot more days, and I'm only off for 2 in 1 week. Well, in the other one, I'm off a lot more. But anyway, I love that working schedule. It's a lot better than what it could be, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. But while going through all this stuff last week, I came across this post by Emerald Apple here, and I just want to highlight it and take a look at it and talk about it for a second. But both Slay the Spire 2 and Helldivers 2 are getting review bombed for balance changes that kill the fun. And that right there is a problem, right? Like, I don't understand why developers feel the need to take like their PvE or single player games and I get it. I get it depending on the type of game. How's that? Right? Because I know there's going to be exceptions and stuff, and it's like, well, if you do this sort of thing in an MMO, that's just really, even if the MMO is mostly PvE and all this other, yeah, I get that, when you're forced to interact with people, and so you've got an MMO, it's got like this auction house or something, you're over here cloning items, yeah, that needs to not happen, yeah, it needs to be stopped or whatnot. But when you're in a game that literally whatever you do has nothing to do or no bearing on anybody else, can we stop with these balance changes sometimes? Oh my gosh, well, a lot of this stuff, to be totally honest. At least it's something that breaks the game, right? Like Windrose had some kind of memory leak going on that was devastating your SSD, and it got fixed, I want to say at the 29th of last month or something, right? It's been a hot minute since they fixed it, and I'm pretty sure they fixed it pretty quickly, but something like that needs to be fixed. The fact that I can shoot the ground and copy my Grand Soul stones and have like 50 of them, maybe don't fix that one. I kind of like that one. We can keep that. Anyway, so developers for some reason have something stuck in their mentality that all games should be balanced. No. The primary goal for all games should be to maximize fun, and yes, highly unbalanced loadouts or combos can make things unfun, but at the same time, nerfing certain metas that people were enjoying also kills the fun. Now, I didn't really play Slay the Spire because it's not my jam. It's this card thing. There's only one game that I somewhat am okay with playing that is a card game, and then there's another game that I was forced to play because, well, I found out after playing Kingdom Hearts 2 when it came out and waiting for it to come out for so long, there was a game actually in between 1 and 2 that should have probably been called 2, but it wasn't. It was called Chain of Memories, and it used cards for some ungodly known reason to make things happen, and fuck that game. Anyway, I was a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so I had no choice but to play it to catch up on the story. And this was after I started playing 2, going, what the heck happened? None of this happened in 1. When did all this stuff happen? And then doing research on the internet that wasn't that big of an internet at the time, you find out there was a game on the DS or whatnot, the 3DS that came out, whatever DS we were on at that point in time, right? We had to play it, and it's like, why do you do this? Which is a whole other rant too, by the way, that should probably happen at one point in time, but we won't get into it. Anyway, so I didn't play much of that, but I did play a lot of Helldivers, and I have to say I experienced those balance nerfs first hands on, and I was just like, why, guys? There was literally no reason for this. Like, when you sat there and told us, oh, by the way, if you use the flaming shotgun, or the napalm or the flamethrower or whatever it is, right? All these flame things, and unless you're hosting the game, the fires actually don't really tick and do anything. They show, they don't actually do anything, kind of deal, right? Like when they had that bug fixed it. but then nerfing my shotgun to hold like 3 less rounds or 2 less rounds or whatever it was, so I have to reload it a hell of a lot more and stuff because it's too strong in somebody's eyes. Now that was not necessary. There was no reason for you to nerf that anyway, or fix that, or however you want to talk about it. But yeah, they think that in order for games to succeed long term, everything has to be in perfect balance. But when it comes at the expense of power fantasy in the game, with increased difficulty, the game ends up feeling more like a chore or a slog rather than fun. This feels even worse for games like Helldivers 2, where many of the nerf weapons come from war bongs, which are paid for battle passes. It feels like a scam, a bait, and a switch, which was something I was going to get into, by the way. I'm glad this actually mentioned it. When a new weapon ends up getting nerfed into complete uselessness a month later because it was too overpowered. Imagine buying a sports car and the engine software update caps the top speed, and a month later and you can't return it, which, you know, if we continue on with smart cars, it's probably going to happen. Like, isn't there like a patch you have to buy for Teslas just to get them better fuel economy or something like that? Anyway, and fuel as in longer charge, whatever it is. I heard, I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a thing. But no, seriously, Helldivers, it's a conspiracy. I don't know if they ever actually found out what happened because I stopped playing Helldivers for various things, of course. But this was one of those things, right? Because they would do the war bond, and for the most part, I didn't spend a cent on the war bonds, right? Because that is one thing that Helldivers did really good, was you being able to find the credits in-game and stuff enough to where if you played the game regularly, you probably didn't have to ever purchase a war bond in your life, unless you just really wanted to for some reason. You'd probably have enough credits to handle it. However, they were nerfing everything. It's like the best weapon in the pack, they would just nerf it right before launching a new pack. That's the problem, right? It wasn't that they just did it every month or something. It was like, hey, here's our new incineration pack, or toxitoid whatevers, or electric something another, right? Packs that's going to come out here, it's going to launch in 2 weeks. Oh, and here's the balance and nerf here's the balance changes that are coming down the pipeline, and then like the best weapon in the previous pack that people are using, I guess, the so-called meta at that point in time, nerfed into the ground. It's just like, why? It feels like you're forcing us to buy this because you're going to make sure everything else is nerfed. Instead, you could have just left it as is. Next pack, same thing. We can all play the things we like. Like, for instance, I really like the incinerator. The incinerating shotgun. Still my favorite thing. The fact that they nerfed it, on the other hand, I think they nerfed it. Pretty sure they had nerfed it at one point. And this is after they had buffed everything. Like, they had buffed fire. And I was like, well, how's this going to go? And you die really quick when you catch fire, but the bugs need more damage, But yeah, like my good shotgun, it was the Berserker or something. I guess technically it wasn't the Incinerator. That was the gun I found after nerf. Right, that I decided I liked a little bit better. And then I found out that half the time most of the damage wasn't happening from it because Chad was the one making the lobby, and we were going through, and since I didn't make the lobby, it didn't count my fire damage anyway. But they nerfed my Berserker, and then they nerfed the next gun I found up I used. So I started using just unconventional weapons that people normally don't use, because I was like, well, at least these are safe from being nerfed half the time. So instead of taking like the reusable or the one-time use rocket launchers or whatnot, I was taking whatever that electric energy version of it was that would recharge itself every so often. I just got really, really damn good at doing that and charging it, just, doing the timing and stuff. I got really good with that one instead of taking other stuff, because I was afraid the other stuff would get nerfed. So Future Z here, and yeah, I got cut off right there, and I don't know why. I don't know how. Like, I can see the audio, like I can see the waves that the audio makes, right? And the audio is just dead. Like, from that to the end of the video, which is like about 15 minutes, right? No idea what has happened. So we'll just continue because I don't know what my thought was. All right, so we'll bring up the second part here. Or when complex combos you learn in Slay the Spire 2 get nerfed into oblivion and the enemies are buffed to the point you have to learn a new strat that isn't as fun to play anymore. And if you find a new combo that's fun and powerful, who's to say that won't get nerfed too? They say that the unbalanced game dies because one thing dominates and everything else feels pointless. Yeah, that is true. But stop nerfing things that are fun. Instead, buff underused weapons and card combos. Add new content that requires different strats, or even lean into the unbalanced chaos with new fun ways for those players to enjoy the power fantasy. Now, when it came to Helldivers, because I was huge playing that one, right? So this is one I really have experience with when they did it. You know, they got those war bonds and stuff, and they would nerf you. They would nerf the thing and then bring it forward, which I'm pretty sure I'm just saying what I already said. But yeah, so when a game does do this sort of thing, it's like we need to stop. We need to bring it back. What was it? Marvel Rivals said that they weren't going to balance for the sake of balance. They were going to balance for the sake of fun, for the most part, I think. Now, whether or not they stuck with that, I'm not sure. I haven't actually played that game in a hot minute. It is a lot of fun, but I don't have the time to play competitive games like that, like I might have done when I was in high school. But yeah, you know, that's the philosophy that needs to be taken when it comes to a lot of these developers. Because when you sit there and you nerf things into the ground, especially when you could just, you know, not. I mean, with the whole Warbond situation, if they had just left things as they were, it would have been just fun, unmitigated chaos. You could pick your favorite gun, you can go out and do the thing you want to do without having to worry about whether or not it's going to get nerfed in a month or so or when the next Warbond comes out. And it would have been so much better. And I'm sure the same thing when it comes to like Slay the Spire and stuff. It's like, you know, when you sit there and you think, well, nobody's going to have fun with this, somebody does. Not everybody has to use the strat. Not everybody has to go find the broken card combo and beat the thing. You know, people can have fun the way they want to have fun. They don't have to use the thing, especially if we're not using something like, you know, if there's no competition involved, right? We're talking about PvE games or single player games. It's like, you don't have to go and nerf the thing because you think it's going to be like unfair or unfun or anything, because it doesn't matter. Nobody else is there to partake in it or to be negatively infected. Yeah, that's the word. Affected by the situation. Let people do what they want to do. You know, it's like when you can just shoot an arrow and copy your grand soul stones. You know, you do that. That's, you know, and for you, that might be fun. For others, you know, duplicating an item in a single player RPG might be the biggest, worst thing you could ever do, and they don't want to do something like that. Anyway, so I don't know what all else I was going to say, but I'm going to end it there because it is early in the morning. I've got to go to work. And, I've got to get this kind of, you know, going. So let me know what you think about balancing for the sake of balance in these kinds of games down in the comments below, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.